Hey, it's Camo, and this week on the show, something a little different. I'm going to be interviewed and talk about what's happening with Camo's Rising Star Road Trip. Stick around.
They said if I did coke, I could party all night.
You're gorgeous.
Thanks, Mom.
Have a great time. Hi, Dad. Wow, I'm just loving that. What is that? Come on, girl, you really need to open the door.
They said if I did coke, I could party all night. They lied. Find out the truth about cocaine. drugfreeworld.org.
Hey, and welcome to the show. You'll notice over the past several days, the name of the show has changed from Nashville Meets World to Camo's Rising Star Road Trip, and I, of course, am Camo. So we thought we'd do something a little bit different today. Rather than me blathering on, I thought we'd do an interview. But I can't interview me, so that's why I have her. This is Julia Searle. Julia is a sponsor of the show with your two businesses, Empower You, Business and Personal Motivational Coaching, and WINEntwine Events Ltd.
Yes.
So we thought, since you're paying the big bucks to be on the show, let's give you a chair. So you're going to be, because your background is in business and social stuff, so we thought it'd be a good idea for you to interview me about what's going on with the show.
Yeah, so as Cameron's already said, I've been a sponsor and very interested in what Cameron's doing with the show and how it's developing. Sounds very exciting, so tell me and tell everyone else what you're up to at the moment.
Well, this past week, about midweek, we started making changes to the show. We changed the title of it. It was kind of a soft launch. I wanted to get all the socials looked after and the URL and email and all that kind of stuff. So the show has changed from Nashville Meets World to Camo's Rising Star Road Trip. And I've always seen Nashville Meets World as kind of a transitional name, because prior to that it was Nashville Access, then Nashville Meets World, and now Camo's Rising Star Road Trip. When I was based in Nashville, Nashville Meets World made sense. I was based there. We were getting artists from all over the world that came to Nashville, plus we had our correspondents in Glasgow, Toronto, Las Vegas, Buenos Aires, Philadelphia, and London. So we had these correspondents that were introducing the audience to individual singers and songwriters around the world. When I moved here in mid-March, right into a lockdown, we had to change. And the immediate thing was, since things were being locked down, and all of these independent artists who rely as their main source of income on being able to play in bars and pubs and clubs, they were losing their income. So my immediate thought was, how do we help out those people? And secondly, how do I create content for the show that is an interview show when we're not going to be able to interview people? So I thought, well, let's do live concerts. So we started doing the live shows on 23rd of March, and we've continued to do them, and we will continue to do them as part of Camos Rising Star Road Trip. So that gave us the content, and it's been great because it gives me a kick every time, because we get artists from South Africa, from Sweden, from Norway, Denmark, Canada, the US, and we're introducing them to people in Saudi Arabia and China and Germany and France and Iceland and Switzerland. It's just amazing the worldwide reach that we've grown. So that's where I kind of was inspired to take the show in a slightly different direction, with being here, based in Dormansland, which is about 45 minutes by train south of Victoria Station in London. So we're close to London and all, the travel hub that's there. We're also close to the South Coast. It's a great location to be in. So I thought, well, let's go on a road trip. And we're going to start introducing artists with an interview and performance in their environment instead of having them into a studio.
So how's that going to make a difference to what you've done already and what you see as going forward?
Well, what we've done already was studio interviews, and the show was roughly about half hour. Sometimes it went a little longer depending on the guest. And they got to play 2 or 3 songs as part of the show. And we were doing 3 shows a week in Nashville. Now, because of the format of the show, we're going to be doing one hour show a week, where think music tourism, I think, is the best way to put it. We're going to go to places, meet up with these artists in their natural environment, whether it's the West End of London, maybe in Hammersmith, or in around Covent Garden area where there's so many pubs and bars and clubs there, or whether it's in Brighton, down by the pier. And we meet up with these artists, we visit these locations, we interview them in locations that have played a part in their development as an artist, influenced their music, influenced their style. And we'll show you, the viewers, a bit of tourist stuff.
Yeah.
Because who doesn't like visiting new places?
I certainly do, and I think are you at 10,000 now?
We're just about at 10,000 likes. We're over 12,000 fans.
And
followers.
So, what do you think the future means for fans and for sponsors or anyone wanting to get involved?
For fans, I think this is going to be great. We'll be coming to your town in all likelihood. Obviously, travel isn't completely wide open yet, so we're starting here in the UK. If you've been watching the old Nashville Meets World show, you will have seen that we did 2 episodes, one in Lingfield, which was quite close to here, it's the next town over, and with Anna Howie, and then we recently did one with Georgia, Nevada, down in Brighton, and that was a blast. So that's closer to what you're going to see on the show. So we'll let you know where we're going to be, and we'll say, hey, we're going to be down in Brighton this Sunday, so if you want to come along and be part of what we're doing, kind of as a studio audience or not a studio audience, then that would be great. So fans get to be a little bit a part of it, maybe some interactive stuff. Nothing sealed in stone. We want to make this as organic as it can possibly be for both the artists and you, the viewers. So we'll do the interview and the tourism part, will be kind of half of the show, and then the rest of the show will be essentially a live concert by the artist we're interviewing. So really interactive.
Yeah.
We're starting close to home here, and as things open up, we'll be going out. It's still going to be hard for artists because they won't be able to play in pubs yet here in the UK, in England anyway. So we'll get them in different environments, but we're going to have fun.
Yeah, it sounds really exciting, and what I've seen of it already, especially with the artists and watching them play and looking at where they live, and just understanding a little bit about them. It's really it just makes that connection so much better. It's almost like being in the concert and having that person there, like a VIP trip with them. So that's been special for me so far to see that.
That's excellent. And we're going to have merch. We're going to have t-shirts and mugs and things like that for you to be able to buy as well, and with our logo on it. For sponsors, this is a great opportunity because there's nothing really like this out there. So it's your opportunity to be part of something unique. You can buy commercial time on the show, so it's just airing your commercials. You can buy feature sponsors. We're also looking for sponsors that can offset, hire cars and hotels and things like that. So we're looking for everybody, and I think it's a great, exciting opportunity to be part of. If you're interested in that, just email Camo at risingstarroadtrip.com and we'll get you connected.
I mean, personally, from being a sponsor and not doing this sort of thing before, certainly for the two businesses are very, very separate, very different from each other. One dealing with a lot of personal development and business strategy, the other one dealing with corporate entertainment and wine tasting. They are going out to different types of audience. So what I've found so far from being a sponsor for a very short time now,
about a month now,
is I've got lots of likes on my Facebook pages, and the awareness is spreading out in a way that I could never have dreamt of doing myself personally. So I think if you've really thought about how to do something different on social media for your business, or to get yourself heard or out there as a company, this is the way to do it, because certainly the mix of audience from young to older are there as your target really, but they're actually wanting to be involved. So I think it's really great. I'm so pleased that I've been invited to be able to sponsor these events, and very excited about the future.
It's going to be fun. As things open up internationally too, we're going to be traveling internationally. And right now it looks like from the UK they're going to allow us to go to Spain and a couple of other countries.
Italy and France, I think.
Yeah, so we're starting in the UK, so it's close to home. We'll be recording shows here. Then as things open up and our budget increases, thanks to incredible sponsors like you, then we'll be able to go to different places. We'll go to Spain and meet up with a local artist and live with or be with them in their village or town or city and discover what drives them as an artist. And then we'll get a bit of a concert on them. And eventually, the world is, in fact, our oyster. Not our Oyster card, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
But the world is our oyster. We want to be able to go to places like Jamaica and hook up with local reggae artists and do the same thing. Or we want to be able to go to Mexico or Buenos Aires, which I have an affinity for, having been there before. So it's just, we want to bring the world to you, and we want to introduce you to the music that's being made around the world, because so many of these artists, and we've had some of them on our show that have a massive following. Sentiment Falls is one, and they're based in Sweden, and they have a massive following, but very few people have heard of them outside of Sweden or the Nordic states. So we've had people all over the US and Canada and all over the world in the UK just blown away by these guys. So it helps them out.
I was going to say, you know, we're doing all this stuff. I mean, it's quite tough for you. You've come over here now to be in the UK, and it must be quite difficult at times just to get yourself motivated to just think about how things are going. And, you know, this new idea, is this sort of come like a flash from nowhere, or where's it come from?
I always had the idea. I think my worldwide interest in things comes from my background in advertising, because I was working at ad agencies as a writer, working with clients around the world. And then when I worked in London for a big gaming company, we had people working with us from all over the world. And I mean, my creative team had people from South Africa, from Russia, Germany, Poland. Me, I was Canadian, and we had one English guy from the East End. So that's almost like being a foreigner. But I started understanding different customs from the countries I was dealing with. I like to learn, so I like learning about this stuff and learning how to create advertising for those other countries, even though I couldn't speak the language. And then after that, I went into international radio promotion, so I was helping independent artists get airplay on radio stations around the world. So I've had this great network of international contacts, and I think the more we can understand things that are going on in other countries around the world, the more savvy it makes us at home, wherever our home is. And music really is the international language. You don't have to speak Spanish or Portuguese, or there's a great band, a Mongolian metal band called The Who, H-U, and you don't have to understand Mongolian to know that it's great music. Great music is great music, wherever it comes from. And we're going to be doing all genres. We're not, and I think that was a thing that, with the Nashville name, people assumed it was a country show. So, yes, we'll be doing country, we'll be doing Americana, we'll be doing folk, we'll be doing rock, but we'll also be doing rap and hip hop, where we find cool artists doing something different with that. Reggae, jazz, blues, everything. We're a multi-genre, multi-language show.
It sounds so exciting with it, and I know for a lot of people in lockdown, they've felt very isolated, and you know, over here, festivals have become a big thing, which people obviously can't go to.
So they've been moving them online.
Absolutely. So I think, you know, for people who are really feeling, or have been really feeling it, this is such a great thing. And music does touch the soul. It sort of lifts your whole mood from, you know, where you're feeling very lonely. And I know from the past, when I want to think of a song that's really made me feel happy, I can think back in my memory to childhood songs that have really lifted me. So I think it's just such an important thing for a lot of people.
That's kind of been the driving reason for doing what we do, because I moved over here. I was here like 4 days, and then lockdown happened. So I was feeling all stressed out, being cooped up and not being able to go out and do things, although I kind of did. You're still limited as to what you can do. And by having these artists come in and do shows from their homes or their personal studios and open things up to the world, and something that I'm always driving home with this lockdown is we've celebrated the healthcare workers and the first responders and people like that. But I think we also have to talk about the creators, the creative people. When you're down, you turn to music, you turn to film, you turn to literature, you turn to whatever provides you an escape. And I think independent artists, all creatives, all artists, all authors, directors, filmmakers, actors, are absolutely essential in our daily lives. And especially from my perspective with music, music has value. And in this society of streaming music, you tend to forget the people that create it. So our job is to introduce the people who create the music. You know, lots of other shows exist and they get the big names on them, the artists that you hear on the radio all the time. That's the tip of the iceberg when it comes to music. The heart and soul of the music business is the independent artist who don't have label backing, that have to do all their own bookings, that have to load up their car with all their stuff so they're the only one in there, but they've got their equipment and their clothing and their merchandise and everything, and they travel from village to town to city to bring people music, to give them 90 minutes of an escape from life. Those people are really important, and we celebrate those people.
Absolutely, I think it's a good point. And the thing is, a lot of the time when they're doing that stuff, they're not being paid. They're doing it just because there is this creativity inside them that needs to be expressed, and it's something that we can all share. Just getting on to that thing of, understand, for the viewers to understand a little bit about you. So when you are feeling a bit stressed or a bit down, what music what is your favourite uplift for you? What do you turn up loud when you're feeling it?
I don't really do an uplift.
Okay.
I tend to get into whatever mood I'm feeling and just go with it. So sometimes that can be the blues, and I'll just crank up just like Beth Hart or Kenny Wayne Shepherd or some of the legendary blues greats. Sometimes it's jazz. A week ago I'd had enough and I just put on John Coltrane and just rode that out. And sometimes it's metal, and I'll put the metal on and I'll bang my head to Iron Maiden and Metallica and Megadeth and Sons of Apollo and that kind of stuff. So
people will hear you coming, but also you have to be very careful with your driving, because if your head hits the steering wheel,
you have to think the Bohemian Rhapsody scenes from Wayne's World. That's kind of like when you drive me. But I think for me, music doesn't take me into a mood. It supplements my moods. If I'm feeling happy, then I'll put on something that is kind of, I don't get really happy, so I'll put on something that's moderately happy. But I can just get lost in things. It's like being on, and I hate to sound like a sci-fi geek here, but it's like being on the Starship Enterprise, and you're just traveling through this whole space of music, and it's where we're going to chart a course for today. That's kind of the way I think of music.
Yeah, wonderful. So I suppose if anyone wants to ask any questions or get involved in any way or look at the sponsorship side of things, where do they need to contact?
The show is called Camos, Rising Star Road Trip. You know that because you're here on the page. We also have our Instagram account at Rising Star Road Trip. We have our Twitter account, which is at Rising Star RDTRP, because they don't give you enough characters. And of course here on Facebook at Rising Star Road Trip. You can email me if it's questions about booking artists for the show or sponsorship. Camo, CAMO, at risingstarroadtrip.com. We're going to get our website up and running soon, and we'll have our merch store there, and we'll have all sorts of cool stuff to populate that with, and all the information you need. But right now, email is the best, or send us a private message here right on facebook.com/Rising Star Road Trip. The name, if you hadn't noticed, is Camos Rising Star Road Trip. So yeah, I just think it's going to be a fun show, and whether you're a fan and you want to come along for the ride and be part of the fun, you're going to enjoy it. Whether you're an artist and you want us to come and interview you and show you off to the world, you're going to have fun. And if you're a sponsor of the show, you're going to have fun because you're going to be associated with all these really cool people.
Definitely.
And new, exciting places and different kinds of music. It's a great place to be. And people never get tired of tourism.
No.
You know, even when times, you know, during the lockdown, people were watching travel shows like crazy because they could live vicariously through the camera lens. And so we want to do that, but combining music and tourism too.
Certainly, when I've watched travel programs myself, and I've seen somewhere or even read an article where somebody said something about a place, and you're imagining this place and you're thinking, I really want to go there. But if you're able to like see you with an artist in that place or somewhere that you even hadn't even considered, you can then think, wow, I've got to go there now. I can see this inside a viewing. It looks great. I think I want to go there and make a trip myself. So you never know, it might lead to more travel plans for people.
And you know, I grew up in southern Ontario in Canada, kind of the golden horseshoe right between Toronto and Niagara Falls. And we got a lot of snow in the winter. And for me, you know, by March, and sometimes even April or May, and you've still got snow on the ground from November, I would watch golf just to see green grass. I don't like golf, but I would watch it just to feel that warm breeze from, you know, Hilton Head, South Carolina or something like that. In my mind, it was like, oh, this is nice, you know, instead of looking at the winter and seeing blizzard. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's just quickly tell people how they can contact you.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So my name is Julia Searle, and so if you want to contact me, as I say, I am the sponsor for the shows at the moment. It's Julia at, and then the company name is Empower You, so that's EMPOWER.co.uk. That's my email address for if you want some advice on some personal development, career advice, if you want business advice on where to go with your company because you've really suffered with lockdown or your head's not in the right place or you're having a bit of staff conflict, certainly email me, get in touch that way.
And you can do consultations on Zoom or whatever,
definitely.
So it doesn't matter where you are for that, but if you want to be in person, it's mainly London and the Southeast.
Yeah, definitely. So Zoom, I've had clients around the world, so the furthest one was in Australia for a while, and we used to be on Skype actually then, but Zoom really works, and I'm doing a lot of that with clients now. You don't get the face-to-face thing that you have when you're meeting people, you know, in person, but it's still as good because a lot of the time I'm looking at clients and how they're answering questions that I'm asking them and seeing how their mood is maybe down or whether they're happy with some things that need to be explored a little bit. So certainly, yeah, and my phone number for the UK is 01342 770583. So that's with Empower You, anything there. In terms of the corporate hospitality, the company's called WINEntwine Events.
Tell us a little bit about that, because that's a really cool thing. You know your
They're
wine.
both cool.
Oh yeah, but
yeah,
anytime alcohol's involved, it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So WINEntwine Events they're both my original ideas for the names of the businesses, but WINEntwine Events came about when I'd gone to this event which was focused all around wine tasting, and let's just say the audience were fairly mature to where I was at the time. That's a nice way of putting it, I think. Anyway, so I was feeling a little bit out of it. I didn't know much about wine at the time, and we had this guest speaker there, and he was talking about these Greek wines, and I thought, oh, this sounds really interesting. I'd like to know more about the wine that I enjoy, because normally I'd go to a restaurant or a hotel and I'd let somebody else order the wine for me, and I didn't really know what I was drinking. I just would drink whatever they thought was best, and all the time it wasn't that nice actually. So I thought this is great. So I was watching all these people enjoying themselves, and as the evening wore on, these people would be slumping in the chairs next to each other, and I think the evening became a blur, and I just thought, wow, this is great. I'm already in business for myself. How can I bring this into something that makes a business? So I went down two paths with this, because whenever you're in business, you never know quite where something's going to go. You don't know if it's going to shoot off one direction or the other. So you can never be that defined about where this pathway is going. So I thought, okay, do I take it down the social side with people interacting and display a collection of wines that I've personally looked at and tasted and thought this is different, and a bit like what Camo was doing with going around and touring around the world. I was thinking I'm going to bring wines from around the world and put them in these events. So they could be a wine from Brazil or Portugal and India, or also Canada, and sort of various places around the world, but maybe not so well known. And so I looked at the social side. That was good, but it didn't give me enough to work from with people in terms of keeping everything going. It was great for the people coming along because they'd talk to each other, relax. So I thought, okay, maybe let's go down this corporate side. Now the corporate side I was already in because I was doing the networking with other businesses. And I thought these people really need lifting up in their lives because these business people are very boring.
Nothing personal. When you come at life from a creative, people that aren't in that realm think, oh, it's so exciting. But we rarely look at accountancy and go, oh.
Yeah, that's not my thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, I started with this group that I was part with and started doing events for them. That led to some fundraising events for like the NSPCC, which is obviously the children's charity, wonderful. And over the years just done other corporate events and hospitality. The things that I like to do now with the wine, I like to make it more interactive with the audience. So I make teams of people, I get a panel of my contestants at a front table. I then get them talking about the wines maybe and then competing against the other tables in the room. So it's more like team events. But these wines are exceptional wines, and these wines a lot of the time are the sort of wines that people haven't come across. So it's always nice to bring something new to these people, help them with their learning as well about wine taste. Because now if I go in a restaurant or a hotel, I've done it many times, they've brought me a bottle of wine, I've tried a little bit of that wine and thought, no, I don't like that. Take it back, that's corked. I want now a fresh bottle, and the person serving the wine, I've even got into a little bit of a debate before, try not to, but you know, it's given me a lot of confidence around my understanding of what wine tastes I like, maybe even with the audience, male, female, what they like.
We're going to do a show.
We are, yeah.
With you talking about, well, we'll both be
getting drunk
yes.
under the excuse of wine tasting. But yeah, so that's going to be a really fun thing, and I'm looking forward to that. So you'll see a little bit of how I do things and how it's a bit different, because I've always thought I'd like to take this business WINEntwine Events further afield, and I never have. I've kept it fairly local to London or, you know, Sussex and Surrey, but it's always been my dream to make it a little bit bigger than it's been, and I think this has given me this great opportunity to do
and we'll
that.
be working together on things where we'll be doing wine tasting, and we'll have artists from the region we're visiting to perform and do some shows that way. So
yeah, we're all
just
going to
be a
end
lot
up
of things.
really drunk
And
on
happy.
the floor, and you're going to get to see the real Camo.
And if you suffer with addiction, then you could look at us as the excuse as to why you quit. whatever
Yes.
you were addicted to.
Absolutely, because it's always, in fact, it should be about drinking responsibly.
But I think we're going to have a lot of cool things with the show. And thanks to Julia and her great companies, WINEntwine Events Ltd. Quickly, website for that.
Oh yeah, so WINEntwine is wineentwine.co.uk, and WINEentwine is a bit of a tongue twister, and it's spelled wine, so WINEN, letter N, and then twine, TWINE.co.uk. Again, if you want to get in contact with me, it's julia@wineentwine.co.uk with any of your questions. You might want to question me about an unusual wine that you've just tried or something. Phone number again in the UK is 01342 770582.
And we'll put links to your Facebook pages on there so people can, under the screen, we'll put, if you're looking now, we're not going to plan on doing it. Right here is the website and contact info, right here. So just read that. And post it on Facebook. We'll have the link to your Facebook page.
Absolutely, and share and help us as much as we will bring these things to you. If you can bring things to us and share what Cameron's worked really hard to just get off the ground and expand for you, because he wants to bring it all to you, then please share it as much as possible.
I think that's the thing I really want you to take away from this, is that what we're doing, music is always a conversation between the person that writes the lyrics and the person that writes the melody, or it's a conversation between the songwriters and the artist interpreting it. And then when it's produced, it's a conversation between the person listening to it or choosing not to listen to it and the person performing it. Music is a conversation, especially when it's live, and we don't know when we're going to get back to that kind of a situation yet. But what we want to do, and we'll continue to do, is increase that conversation by taking you places that you've never been or that you want to return to, or possibly just live vicariously through what we're doing. And we want you to be involved. So to continue that, it's a conversation between you and me, and you with your businesses.
Absolutely.
It's a conversation because we can't just create shows in a vacuum and say, here you go, like these. We want you to enjoy them and hear what you like about them, hear what you don't like about them. Just watch Camos Rising Star Road Trip and our sponsors. Empower You, business and personal motivational coaching. I got that. Motivational should go for it.
You're doing okay.
And yeah, I need motivation to get
You
it
do.
right. And WINEntwine Events Ltd, because they as well are part of the conversation. And I know this may seem a little bit long to you, but we're really excited. This is our first day of the show, and we thought the best way to do it was to explain what the show is all about, why the name change. For a while, it's going to continue pretty much as you've seen with Nashville Meets World, because we're continuing these concert series that just have a different name. And once a week, we'll be bringing you a show from someplace. So it's exciting, and we're glad to have you along for the ride. And you.
Of course, and I'm excited to be here. So thank you so much for letting me interview you. I know a few bits about you anyway, but it's been really great today as well. Thank you.
And thank you. Make sure you watch Nashville. No, that was last week. Make sure I have to get the mind switched over. Make sure you watch Camos Rising Star Road Trip with me, Camo, right here every day, Monday through Sunday. There's one produced show, and then we've got the live concert series going every day, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. in the UK, and you can figure out the time zones wherever you are. But watch the show. Make sure you like our page. Go and follow our socials. And when we've got merch up, make sure you get our merch. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Bye.